Hi folks, I'm Gary Ryan from Organisations That Matter. It's a pleasure to be delivering this program for you today. It's number 3 in your series for the Club Committee Member Professional Development Program for Monsu Caulfield, and this one is called Discover the Power of Constructive Self-Talk and How to Foster It Among Your Committee Members. As I mentioned, I'm Gary Ryan from Organisations That Matter, and it's a pleasure to be here with you as we go through this session. I'm also the author of the best-selling Disruption Leadership Matters, Lessons for Leaders from the Pandemic. It's a bestseller on Amazon Kindle, and again, you can access it through disruptionleadershipmatters.com or any good online store. Today's focus is around a quick welcome and introduction to the session. We'll explain mental models and how they influence your self-talk. We'll identify examples where negative self-talk may affect your performance. We'll explain the self-talk model, explain constructive self-talk, explain the type of hard work that is required for success in anything in your life, including in your club committee, of course, and link all of the above to your club committee roles. And this is the third of 8 sessions for this 2022 program. Mental models are your theories about how the world works. And if you look at the image on the screen, we've got an iceberg, and typically with an iceberg, you've got 1/3 of the iceberg that's out of the water and visible to everyone, with the majority of the iceberg, in fact, sitting below the waterline, 2/3 of the iceberg. Your behavior is like the ice above the waterline. It's visible to everyone, it's recordable. Below the waterline are your mental models. Now, your mental models are effectively developed through your life's experience. So they come from your culture, of your national culture, they come from your family culture, they come from religion or no religion that you've been exposed to, they come from your educational experience. They're being influenced at Monash University and through Monsu right now. So they come from all of your life's experiences. They are fundamentally, however, subconscious, meaning you have these theories, but you're not explicitly aware that you have these theories most of the time. And this is a challenge for folk because you might have a theory that isn't as effective as what another theory could be, but you're not aware of that possibility. So they are very, very powerful, and as we can see here, they can overrule your values. You might have a value of integrity and honesty, for example, but if you have a mental model, a subconscious mental model that you need to protect your version of your own competence, it's amazing what you will do to protect it, which may include covering up mistakes that you've made, or certainly covering up when you don't know something, which may in fact go against your value of honesty and integrity. So in my professional work, I spend a lot of time helping folks actually uncover what their mental models are. In other words, I help to raise that iceberg out of the water so that they can observe what their mental models might be that are directly influencing their behavior. All of us have personalities, and our mental models are influenced through our personality preferences. Our mental models direct what we see. Does it make sense that us human beings like to be right? Does that make sense to you? And because we like to be right, we go and seek out evidence in the real world that reaffirms what we believe to already be true. Now, this creates a reinforcing loop, which in many cases is not great for learning because we just go to seek information that reinforces what we think. So, for example, if you think someone's a fool, it's really hard not to see them not be a fool. You actually are seeking evidence to reaffirm that all the time. If they, in fact, behave in a way that's not being a fool, you might completely ignore it. You might choose, if you like, to not take in that data because it doesn't reaffirm what you believe to be true. You only seek out the foolish behavior to reaffirm that view for you. So this is where they're really, really powerful, because we seek evidence to prove what we already believe, and that then directly influences our behavior. Now, the challenge with our mental models is that it's not about them being right or wrong. What's more important is this question, and I encourage you to ask it all the time. It's very, very powerful when it relates to self-talk that we'll be talking about in a moment. Is this mental model useful for what I want to achieve? Is this theory going to help me for what I want to achieve? And the challenge with a lot of our self-talk is our self-talk reflects our mental models. We're not aware that we've got them, but they actually are reflected in our self-talk. So our self-talk, the talk we do to ourselves in our heads, can really strongly give you a clue, a window, if you like, is into what your mental models might be. And as such, it gives you a chance to change them. Now, clearly from a club committee point of view, it's really important that we have shared mental models. We want to have shared mental models about where the club is going and shared mental models about how we're going to get there. If we don't have shared mental models about where we're going or how we're going to get there, it actually makes it really difficult to go anywhere, because arguably we're going all over the place. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't want diverse thinking. We absolutely do. We want that diverse thinking to help build and create what those shared mental models might be. And we need to be able to speak with each other in high quality conversations to be able to do that, which is what is coming up in the next session. So the words you actually say either in your heads or out loud often reflect your mental models, even if you don't realize that is what is happening. So self-talk and performance. The self-talk you have in your head has a direct ability to create a future image, and we call that your self-image. And in your self-image, you'll create a future video that matches your self-talk. So this is a video effectively of the future. It might be fuzzy or it might be really clear. Either way, it's a future video. Now, when we find ourselves in that scenario of performance, because we like to be right, we're seeking out evidence while we're performing, whatever it might be, and I'll give you a concrete example in a moment, that is about reinforcing what that self-talk was, so we can say to ourselves, see, I knew I was right. So let's backtrack. Imagine if you have some self-talk about your public speaking. Let's say you have some self-talk that says, I'm not a very good public speaker. In fact, I'm a terrible public speaker. You create a future video of being a terrible public speaker when you have that self-talk. Then let's say you've got to do something for your club and you're required to do some public speaking. While you're doing it, you're actually looking for the evidence of doing it poorly. So you can then say to yourself, see, I knew I couldn't do this and they shouldn't have given me this job. The challenge with that, though, is that maybe public speaking actually is going to be important for you in your career and also for your club, for you to be effective at it. You don't have to be the best in the world, but you need to be effective. So this self-talk has a really significant influence on your performance. What we want to do is to change the self-talk so that we have a future video that reflects a learning or growth mindset rather than the mindset of failure and seeking out evidence for failure. So what does that self-talk look like? This is the basic structure of self-talk. Now, I want you to think about, before we get there, what some of your examples of negative self-talk. So when you have negative self-talk, and that public speaking example was about negative self-talk, when do you have examples of that impact your committee's performance? Maybe it's to do with a new opportunity for a role, or maybe you've been given a task to do and your immediate self-talk is, I can't do this, I don't know what to do, those sorts of negative self-talk. So I want you to note down at least one, please, that either happens for you or you've noticed with other people. Once you've got that noted down, then let's look at this constructive self-talk phrase. So this is the structure of constructive self-talk. I will be the best at X that I can be today. I will be the best at X that I can be today. Or I will be the best X that I can be today. X represents whatever that topic is that you're focused on. So if it's about public speaking, I will be the best public speaker that I can be today. I will be the best at using this new software that I can be today. I will be the best in this interview on behalf of my club that I can be today, and so on and so forth. We use this basic structure or template for constructive self-talk. Now, you notice it's not saying the best in the world. It's saying I'll just be the best that I can be today, which is about learning and improvement over time. So this is about getting better over time. It doesn't mean you have to be the best in the world. Now that constructive self-talk shifts that future video that you had, and it actually helps it to be more about learning and improvement rather than focusing on failure, which means when you're in the act of actually doing whatever the self-talk action is, such as public speaking, you're then more inclined to be looking for evidence of improvement, not being the best in the world, but improvement that'll actually help you to reinforce the things that you're doing to improve. Which takes us to the second part of this model. You can't self-talk your way to success. It's really important to have constructive self-talk, but that isn't enough. It must be balanced with smart, hard work. So smart, hard work is in fact discovering what I call the techniques that matter. So if it's public speaking, there's maybe 4 to 6 key aspects of public speaking techniques that if you were to learn and master them over time will significantly improve anybody's effectiveness as a public speaker. As an example, if you were going to kick a goal in a soccer net, there's on a penalty, there's a particular technique or techniques that are more effective than others. So smart hard work is practicing techniques that work. Okay, smart hard work is practicing techniques that work. Anders Ericsson is the expert on expertise, and what he's discovered is that all experts from all walks of life have all done hard work to get there. None of them have done easy work. Doing smart hard work makes things easier, but not easier. I hope you understand that. Doing smart hard work, again, makes things easier, but not easy. You, in fact, may be the sort of person where people say to you all the time, hey, you know, that's just easy for you. They've always said it to you, maybe all the way through high school and even today at university. People say, oh, it's just easy for you. They don't actually see you practicing and doing the hard work in the background and doing the smart hard work that often other people can't see. Now, the focus part in the fulcrum of this balance beam, so focus on the technique that matters, is that when you're actually doing that action that relates to your self-talk, you focus on your technique, not the outcome. So while you're doing public speaking, you're focusing on the technique of public speaking. While you're public speaking, you're not worried about what people think or the feedback you're going to get afterwards. You just focus on the technique to help you deliver your message. Or equally, if you're there on the spot kick to kick a goal to win a game of soccer, then you're focused on the best technique that you've been training on, doing the smart hard work with, to get the ball in the back of the net. But you focus on the technique, not the outcome. The technique delivers the outcome. So your focus while performing is always on technique, not worrying about the outcome. Now, this is really powerful because smart hard work is in fact the secret for high performance, matched with, of course, constructive self-talk. So you must always do your research and find the smart hard work that you need to do to practice. Now, in your club committee roles, often people have been on the committee for a number of years while other folk might be new. And you may have had a portfolio that you're now doing a different portfolio and someone else is taking on your portfolio. This is where discovering what the smart hard work can live with other people. So you can mentor the person that's come into the committee for the first time, and it's an important mental model, I would argue, to be open to being mentoring, even by a student peer like you folk are, to help you with your roles and to help you with your smart hard work and constructive self-talk, that I will be the best at this role that I can be today. And I will be the best at this role that I can be for this year. You can even expand your constructive self-talk to be over a longer period of time. But you've got to go and, again, do that research. And often people that have done something before have an insight as to what the smart hard work might be that you can practice for your role. So it must be practiced, the technique that matters. Okay, so the technique that matters is in fact the technique that you're practicing through your smart hard work, and it's that practice that's absolutely critical. And remember, as we've said, that when you are in the act of performing or doing whatever your self-talk focuses on, it's you focus on the technique that you've learned and been practicing, not on the outcome. And these key elements will help you be successful in your role individually and then clearly collectively in your various committee roles for your club committee at Monsu Caulfield. So once again, I'm Gary Ryan from Organisations That Matter. You can contact me with all the various details on the screen there. I really look forward to completing the other 5 elements of this 8-part series, and I look forward to working with you next time.